Farm Bureau helps protect its members in more ways than you might think. They've always been the voice of agriculture in Arkansas, working on behalf of folks like me when nobody else would. And Farm Bureau stands for the values that Arkansas families care about. They've protected my right to farm and make a living, which helps everybody who likes food on the table. You know what they say, Arkansas counts on agriculture, and agriculture counts on Farm Bureau.
Walmart says it's going to get its sales back on track, but what's at work for the world's biggest retailer? Joining me from Fayetteville is Michael Tilley with our content partner, the City Wire. Always good to have him with us. Michael, first question for you. Walmart U.S. CEO Bill Simon said this week, we know being aggressive on price is key to driving store traffic. They touted their neighborhood markets. They touted their new site to store, which is basically you buy it online, you walk in the store and pay for it and walk out with it. Is this a winning strategy for them? Are they going to get things back on track?
Well, they're certainly betting on it, and to the tune of billions of dollars. You know, they hope to build out another 500 of these neighborhood market stores in the next 18 months. And you know, those stores have good margins, better margins than some of their other outlets. So they hope that margin drives growth. And also that's part of that you mentioned the site to store, and that's going to be an important part of having that, you know, within proximity of their customers. So it improves the chances that the site to store will be successful. You know, we often think Walmart's competing with, you know, Costco and these other traditional retailers, but they're also competing with Amazon and with other companies that are emerging where, you know, that's where you go to buy your shoes or your shirts or whatever. So part of that growth, it's not only sales growth, but it's part of their plan to try to get out into other markets where, in terms of electronic sales, e-commerce, that they're not now in.
Well, there is some risk out there, though, for a high-profile Walmart executive like Bill Simon making that bold of a statement, basically claiming that they are going to see an improvement and a rebound in the second half of their fiscal year. That confidence, I'm not suggesting that he's not, but there's some risk there involved in making such a bold statement, is there not?
Well, there is some risk. I mean, they haven't performed. The first half of the year has been spotty, just to be generous. And you know, it's when Kim Susan and I were talking about it, you know, our first thought is they must be hoping for that big fourth quarter. You know, of course, their fiscal year ends at the end of January, so they've got a little bit more time. But you know, they're hoping on big quarter sales. They're already pushing out news about their holiday toy sales, so they've got to be hoping for that. But if they're looking for relief from the consumer, I mean, we're still seeing consumer confidence down. We're still seeing, we just had some tourism numbers out today, and what we're hearing from tourism officials is that people are still traveling, for example, but they're spending less money. We think that translates also to the retail sector. They still have to go to Walmart, they still have to get the groceries and those things, but they may be cutting back on some of the extras they may have in previous years, those extras they may have purchased. So you're correct. Simon that's a bold prediction, and if you're a Walmart shareholder, you certainly hope he pegs it.
That's right. All right, another angle on Walmart here. They've announced a couple of weeks ago this onshoring effort to bring back more manufacturing jobs from overseas to the United States. It's a patriotic thing. It's a create American jobs thing. There was a big conference in Orlando, Florida that you reported on, we reported on. Governor Mike Beebe tells you at a jobs announcement in Fort Smith middle of the week that he's already seeing some results from that manufacturing summit that Walmart helped spearhead. He told you 2 job prospects are in the hopper. He told me 3 the next day. What kind of jobs are we looking at, and are they substantial jobs?
Well, no, we're not substantial jobs, but I think they're plastics manufacturing, extrusion, molding, those type of jobs, and it's tied to it's high volume work that these companies do for Walmart. And you know, we also talked to Grant Tennille. He's head of the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and he was the one that told me too. So the governor may have let one go, but or let another one in. But it's you know, one, we expect an announcement. According to Grant, we expect an announcement maybe later this month, later in September. And the other one, he says they're really, really close on. But Grant also says it's not a lot of jobs initially because these companies, they're producing high volume for Walmart, and they can't just shut that down and interrupt the supply chain, so they have to phase it in, according to Grant. And hopefully as we start hearing about these, they'll start building. Other companies will see it's real. One of the interesting things Walmart is doing is essentially saying, we may have had a 1-year contract with you, but if you'll bring some of your production, a certain amount of your production back, we'll maybe extend that to 2 or 3 years. So that's that's something that Walmart's doing to essentially put their money where their mouth is on this effort.
I'm going to shift gears on you. We're going to switch to home sales. The CityWire's home sales report came out with some July numbers. Year to date, we see for the 7-month period of January through July, home sales are up 11% across the state, at least in those 4 big metro markets that you look at that drive about 75% of the home sales activity. 20% leap year over year in July of this year. What's driving some of this positive news in home sales?
Well, it's interest rates, I think. I know often in real estate we talk about location, but maybe interest rates. And, they've remained low, but they started creeping up. And so what we're hearing from realtors, from economists, is that people are jumping into that market trying to capture those rates while they can. And what we're also seeing is that the number of sales has increased 20%, but the overall increase in the value is starting to pull back. It was double digit in some case, but now it's getting around 1%, 2%, 3% in some areas. So we're seeing that we're hitting that higher end of what the market's willing to pay for housing, which is still a good sign. It's still moving in the right direction. And I know a couple months ago I was concerned that this trend, this growth in the Arkansas housing sector, and it's across the country really, may not shore up, may not hold up for the second half of the year. But so far, I think my concerns may have been unfounded. It's still looking good. Realtors are saying, especially in northwest Arkansas and the central Arkansas area, they're telling us that they're just still having people come into the pipeline wanting to either buy up or get a home. And there's also a lot of investor money coming into the market, and that's something we haven't seen in previous cycles as much. There's a lot of investors saying, we still think that the real estate values are lower than what they should be, and we want to buy this up. And it's just, it's a market play. When a lot of people are sitting on money or they're nervous about the stock market, they'll put it in real estate.
Let's segue to another, probably the biggest news of the week, at least here in central Arkansas. It obviously has ramifications in northwest Arkansas too. Simmons First acquires Metropolitan National Bank. That was signed off on by a bankruptcy judge on Thursday. That deal looks like it's going through. $53.6 million Simmons is going to spend to acquire Metropolitan. This is a market share deal in central Arkansas. There's going to be some real synergy there in terms of deposit growth for Simmons in the central Arkansas market. It's different in northwest Arkansas. Maybe walk me through and viewers through a little bit of the dynamics there.
Well, I think they do. Simmons doesn't capture as much market share in central Arkansas, but it does help them shore up what they have, and it's also could be a real estate play in northwest Arkansas. Metropolitan had, when they first moved up here several years ago, 5-6 years ago, built some very nice facilities in some very good locations around northwest Arkansas. So Simmons will acquire those, and in some cases it could be, I wouldn't say pennies on the dollar, but it could be a very good value in terms of what that real estate would have been worth if they'd had to buy those facilities individually. So you get that with Simmons, and it's also, as the banking market consolidates, this is just a move by Simmons to essentially protect their flanks, so to speak. But as you said, in central Arkansas, it is a market share move. In northwest Arkansas, I think it's a real estate move.
And Kim Souza with your organization has been doing great work covering that. I've enjoyed basically teaming up with her on our coverage there. That's been a good 1-2 punch there. And I'm number 2 on that, by the way. She's an expert in the banking field there. He's Michael Tilley. He's with the CityWire. You can catch him online at thecitywire.com. You can also catch him through our website at talkbusiness.net. Thank you for being with us, Michael. We appreciate you as always. A word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to wrap up. I'm Roby Brock. This is Talk Business.